Shalom, Yasher Allah. First and foremost, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakach Hadash. Double honors to the beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to all of you hopeful elect Akim out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Amar from the GMS Boise, Idaho camp. And I'm just doing this lesson, based on 2 Maccabees chapter 6, starting around the 12th verse, and I'm going to read all the way through the end of the chapter, which goes to 31, because I was just, doing some studying, and one of these stories that I have highlighted in my Bible, I just was reading, and felt the spirit that it's good to talk about right now, because what I'm going to read, is what is a example of holding fast to your faith and not giving up no matter what situation Esau Edom tries to put us in. Because at the end of the day, brother, Akia Makwath, we persevere and we do not say yes to the charagma. We completely hold our faith 10 toes down 100% until the end in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to come and save us. He eventually will, man. Even if we have to give up our lives, we can be resurrected when he comes back, for that first, for the second coming. Will be that first go around, Yahweh Ratazah. Even if you have to give up your life, that gets resurrected. So I'm going to get right into it and just start reading, because, this is a very powerful example of, not selling out. Like, we know that this year, 2026, is the year of the apostate, false teacher, false prophet. We have these camps selling out openly and changing the doctrine, and this is a example of Eleazar, which was just compelled to eat pork. Man, you fucking Jakes in the world will eat pork and not even have anybody force you, and this is something so-called small to today's world, because everybody's eating abominations. But it was such a major thing, and still is to this day, for an Israelite to eat that abominable meat. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into it. And Lord willing, that this is edifying. So this is 2 Maccabees 6 and chapter 6 and verse 12. Now I beseech those that read this book that they be not discouraged for these calamities, but that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but for a chastening of our nation. Because if you read the second Maccabees, it talks about how we were being persecuted under the Grecians, and the damn Edomites killing our babies because we were circumcising them and keeping the law, as well as we weren't able to keep the Sabbaths. They made us participate in the orgy fucking Bacchus ceremonies, where they would parade Israelites naked or in togas, wearing the ivy crown. We were being Hellenized during this process, and this was the chastising of the Israelites being in captivity under the Grecians again, not again, but being under captivity again, and this time it was the nation of the Grecians. Verse 13, for it is a token of his great goodness, which is like a sign, when wicked doers are not suffered any long time, but forthwith punished. So it's Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, that if a wicked thing comes up, it's completely taken down very quickly. And even though, this earth has been around for thousands of years, history has been going on for thousands of years, in the time frame of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, it's a very short amount of time that the wicked and the wicked Esau Edom has been in control and ruling this world. It's a short amount of time, even though us, it's been generations and generations and reincarnation after reincarnation. To us, it feels like forever. But we have to understand this is the Lord's movie. Verse 14, for not as with other nations, whom the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai patiently forbeareth to punish, because they had to serve their purpose. The heathen nations had to serve their purpose. So if they went off and got destroyed immediately, prophecy, wouldn't be fulfilled exactly how it was supposed to. Till they be come to the fullness of their sins, so dealeth he with us. Verse 15, lest that being come to the height of sin, afterwards he should take vengeance of us. Which means, hey man, like we were dealing with the Philistines in the land, being a thorn in our side, the Amalekites, like Saul, not completely decimating them when he had King Agag, right there, there would be a thorn in our side. Second Maccabees 6 and 16, and therefore he never withdraweth his mercy from us. And though he punish with adversity, yet doeth he never forsake his people. So no matter how many times we've been in and out of captivities, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is always going to be with us. Verse 17, but let this that we have spoken be for a warning unto us. And now will we come to the declaring of the matter in few words. So now we're going to go into the story of Eleazar. Verse 18, Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, which is the top scribes, an aged man, and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. So he was forced to eat swine's flesh. Verse 19, but he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment. So he spit it out and came willingly to whatever torture the Grecians were going to put on him. As it behooved them to come that are resolute, which is like you're steadfast, you're not moving, you're not budging, you're not changing your mind. As it behooved them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted. Love of life, which is, like the pleasing the flesh. Verse 21, but they that had the charge of that wicked feast, for the old acquaintance they had with the man, taking him aside, so it's an old friend that Eleazar knew, that was a Grecian, probably, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, such as was lawful for him to use, and make as if he did eat of the flesh, taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king. So you had one of the king's men that was close with Eleazar, say, hey man, we'll just bring some lamb, bring some chicken, bring some beef, and just eat it and say like you're eating from the king's table. That's what he was telling Eleazar to do. Verse 22, that in so doing, he might be delivered from death, and for the old friendship with them find favor. So he was telling him how he could live his life, kind of be, tricky about it and save his own skin. But yet, look at what type of example that he would be giving to the children of Israel. And Eleazar knew this, and this was his response. But he began to consider discreetly, and as became his age, and the excellency of his ancient years, and the honor of his gray head, whereunto he was come, and then that honor unto the gray head, because the Lord is not going to allow a wicked person to reach their old age. Someone who is living righteously and someone who is following the law, statutes, and commandments, they get blessed with a long life. That's why the gray hairs were such a sign of, respect in the ancient world. Continuing, whereunto he was come, and his most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made and given by the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Therefore he answered accordingly, and willed them straightways to send him to the grave. So he's pretty much telling him, what's the point of me, doing all this righteousness and keeping my integrity from the youth just to throw it away now? He's like, nah, it don't make sense. Go ahead and kill me. That's what he was pretty much telling him. Verse 24, for it becometh not our age, said he, in any wise to dissemble, which means to just break apart and give up, whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, being 80 years old and 10, so he was 90 years old, because 80 is 20, 80 is 80, and 10, which is 90 years old, were now gone to a strange religion. So he's saying, man, if this old man, one of our elders is saying yes to this, why shouldn't we? So he knows that he's an example to the younger Jakes. Verse 25, and so they, through mine hypocrisy and desire to live a little time, because he's already 90, and a moment longer, should be deceived by me. And I get a stain to mine old age and make it abominable. Verse 26, for though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men, yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead. Whoo! Man, that's that scripture. Fear not him that can destroy the flesh. I'm going to get it right now. Fear not him that killeth the flesh. KJV. This is Matthew 10 and 28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Whew, man, that's the Lord. Ultimately it can steal your flesh and, your spirit in great torment, because he's the controller of things, man. That's fear Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, not what this man can do. Verse 27, wherefore now manfully changing this life, I will show myself such an one as mine age requireth, which means he's moving with wisdom, and leaveth a notable example to such as be young. He's leaving an example to us. That this old man, so-called old man, this elder, Salakia, this elder, having the balls to say no to the Grecians like he did, was a very honorable death in the way that he went out. And leave, verse 28 again, and leave a notable example to such as be young, to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment, that they led him, changing the good will. They that led him, changing the good will, they bear him a little before into hatred, because the foresaid speeches proceeded, as they thought, from a desperate mind. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned, and said, it is manifest unto the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, that hath the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in body by being beaten, but in soul am well content to suffer these things, because I fear him. And thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a noble courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation. Call Halal Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai Bahashim Chachadash. And this is one of many examples of our courageous forefathers that did leave a memorial of virtue unto us, the young men that are following in their steps, following after Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to the best of our ability, not selling out. Lord willing, will never bow down to Esau, Edom, and his will. Never take the charagma, and never stop pushing Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai and the kingdom. As like the scriptures say, give him no rest till he make Jerusalem a praise on the earth. And that is what we are going to face. Temptation, the hour of temptation that every man is going to face. And also, different situations of them threatening our flesh with pain, our loved ones with pain, our material things getting stripped from us with pain. Everything, man, is going to come against those who do not take the charagma. And we make these videos so that you can prepare your mind and your spirit to endure when those days of testing come upon you. So Lord willing that this lesson was edifying unto the elect. Till next time, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachachadash. And double honors to beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. And peace and salutations to all you hopeful elect Akim out there laboring, that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. Till next time, Lord willing.